Parents, at what point did you decide to give up on a child? I've accepted that my stepdaughter is the devil's spawn. For context, I met my husband about 4 years ago. I'm now 8 weeks pregnant and have an 8-year-old son from my late boyfriend. My husband has a 13-year-old daughter, Jamie, from a previous marriage. Jamie lives with us every other week. When we got married, the ex-wife tried everything to get full custody of Jamie and failed, but it was made very clear to me by Jamie, the ex-wife, and my husband that I am not her mother and am not allowed to participate in raising her. Jamie basically ignored me and my son during the weeks my husband and I had her. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't hurting anyone directly. My son learned very early not to cross Jamie and kept to himself when she was around. I suspected the ex-wife was behind Jamie's coldness towards me and thought this must be hard for Jamie with all these changes. I tried to befriend her over the years, but she wasn't having it. It got worse when the ex-wife remarried and got pregnant with twins, 2 years ago. She started ignoring Jamie, trying to get my husband to have her more, and basically stopped being a mother to her. It didn't help either that the new husband didn't like Jamie and wasn't shy about not wanting to raise another man's daughter. I asked my husband if we could take Jamie full-time and try to raise her. I saw that her mental health was deteriorating and that she needed stability. His ex-wife blatantly refused this suggestion, so we continued with seeing her only every other week. The twins were born about a year ago, and it all went downhill from there. It seemed like the worse Jamie had it at her mom's, the more she hated me and my son. She would throw fits a couple of times every time she was with us, break our stuff, and call me the B word if I tried to tell her off. She'd also say that the house is her house because her father bought it and we're just guests. She would yell at my son, and she even hit him a couple of times, telling him to keep to his room if he didn't like her treatment of him. When I told her not to put her hand on my son, she said, "What are you going to do about it?" My son grew fearful of her and would ask me to take him to my late boyfriend's father when she was living with us. I talked to my husband about it. I told him Jamie needed professional help because she's not feeling well, and she's making us miserable when she's around. So she started to go to therapy and it's been 6 months now. Other than that, my husband didn't know what to do either. If he tried to talk to her about being nice to us, she played innocent. She would tell him she was playing around and hug and kiss my son in front of him. If my husband tried to be stern, she would throw a tantrum and accuse him of loving my son more than her. Then, 3 months ago, my son's grandpa passed away. This hit my son and me very hard. My son was inconsolable for many weeks and couldn't really understand what it meant that he couldn't see grandpa again. Grandpa, like my late boyfriend, was a carpenter. Since a very young age, my son loved hanging with him in the garage working. Many times when he was there, he'd come home with something they made together. For my 38th birthday last summer, I got a stool that my son designed himself and built with his grandpa and then painted. This was the last project they had together since grandpa passed away a few weeks later, so the stool was priceless to us. We had it in the kitchen. Jamie made a lot of negative remarks about the stool.